had a whole idea for the cold open where
Okay.
I would like position the camera and I would jump from my desk chair onto my bed, but like I would jump out of frame and then I'd be like, oh fuck, because
Why?
the circus is
You're gonna do a
death defying.
you're gonna do
Jesus
a circus
Christ.
stunt, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. But then I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna eat crumb cake and piss.
Your breakfast is crumb cake and taking a piss. That sounds that's honestly embarrassing. I can't even believe you shared that.
Keep it in. Double it. The people have to know.
1, 2, 3, 4.
These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar wieners, Oscar wieners, Oscar wieners. These boys are the Oscar wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar wieners.
My word.
It was a really good crumb cake.
I'm sure it was
It was
great.
like a chai chocolate crumb cake.
What does that mean? I've never. It's chai, like the tea?
Yeah, it was like a chai infused chocolate rimmed
Poor choice.
crumb cake.
What
And it
is
was
the
vegan too, which was sick.
Oh, cool. What is chai what flavor is chai?
Uh, hmm. It's kind of like a. You never had chai?
No.
Hmm.
I've had like a chai tea, but to me it just tastes like muddy water.
Jesus Christ, you're absolutely canceled for that.
I'm canceled for that. Then describe chai.
All the Insta baddies are absolutely coming for your ass on that one because you know what they start their mornings with? A fucking chai and a
Oh,
crumb.
no way. You're an insta baddie, dude. You start your day with a fierce jog. Nothing more,
Oh my
nothing less.
God.
There's no rum cake. There's no chai. It's just let's get this day started. Let's get the pump on. Let's go get this grind going. And that's what I aim to do today. I'm trying to get my grind grinding.
I see that
So
you've
to
taken
speak.
off your grind guard.
Yes, I have.
Um, I think you should start your morning with something that backs you up, and then you force a really uncomfortable shit out of your ass.
Why do you think that? Doctors don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. I'm not a doctor yet.
If you're not working for your turds, who are you working for? My mentor said that.
Your mentor? You have
James Eleanor Beasley.
you absolutely made that up on the spot. You have a mentor whose name is James Eleanor Beasley, and he told
The
you
third.
the third, fine. So he's the a long lineage of Beasleys, and he told you, get up, start your day, roll out of bed, crumb cake, take a piss. That's your regiment?
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's not working for you.
Ever heard of it?
You know
You,
how
you
when
just
when
don't know what
someone
success looks like when it's staring you in the
well, I
face.
know what it doesn't look like. And usually when someone is successful or healthy, they're described as radiant or glowing. You are shadow. You are a black hole absorbing all light. You are the pinnacle of unhealth that I see before me.
I really needed to hear that, man.
Your mentor hasn't told you this.
No,
You
I
need a new
fucking pay that dude.
mentor.
I pay that dude 10% of everything I earn.
Why? He's not tied to your
Somebody's
earnings.
gotta pay him. He's a mentee.
No, you're the mentee.
Huh?
You're a mentee sipping on some mint tea,
I'm a
chai
mento. I'm
style.
absolutely gonna fizz.
Don't fizz. Don't
Put me
fizz
in some
on me.
Pepsi and watch me fizz.
Oh, I can't believe you said Pepsi. It's Coke. You do Coke and Mentos. It's not Pepsi and Mentos.
Fine. Let's get this shit started and over with.
Fine. I can't wait. Speaking of absolute shit shows, this movie, I don't want to be. Sorry, I'm not gonna. Go ahead. Let's
Okay.
do the intro. Do it. Do
All
your
right.
whole.
That's okay.
I
Okay.
am raring to go. I'm
I'm
pissed.
excited
I'm
because
pissed.
okay. Welcome to Oscar Wieners, the only
Welcome.
show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night is 24/7.
Huge
I'm
night.
Michael O.
And I'm Jax the Daxter the third. Esquire.
Twice removed. Esquire.
Two times removed.
How
But
do
you
you
can
get
call
the
me.
Esquire?
You just have to become a
Go ahead.
lawyer. Go to law school.
Oh, is that what that is? I literally
Yeah.
had no idea. Okay.
Yeah, I did that. I went to, so, you go through law school, you pass the bar, you clear the bar, you take your LSAT, I think, and then you're basically the law. You decide what law is, what is legal, what is not.
It's not how it goes. You
Um,
follow the law, but you don't make the
kind
law.
of, well, it's kind of within my jurisdiction. I kind of,
That's not true.
all kinds of laws, laws of physics, laws of
That's absolutely
gravity, um,
false.
kind of all tied together because I say so, which is kind of crazy, just because I
Oh
took
my
a
God.
test.
Are you QAnon?
Introduced at the top of the episode as Dax Jackster the Third or whatever. Turns out it's actually me, QAnon. How you doing?
You, Aaron. Nice to meet you.
Imagine QAnon's real name is just Aaron.
Aaron Darby.
Oh, like if you're the guy behind or girl behind QAnon, you gotta have a cool name.
Definitely a guy, right?
I
Not
yeah
to be look, equal opportunity and whatever,
yeah
but like definitely
of
like a
course yes.
straight, like violently heterosexual,
Jesus.
insane
I
ass.
I think it's an AI.
Okay. That's actually an interesting take.
I think it's just a chat bot spewing this vitriol that is just consumed from the internet and now is just regurgitating it forth. What's this podcast
Right.
about?
What's your name? You just said
Oh,
Esquire, that whole thing.
right. I'm Ander, Alexander Andriatis. You can call me Ander.
Hell yeah. This is a show where every week we randomly pick a best picture winner.
No order.
No order. And we talk about it. And this week we're talking about the greatest show on earth. Now, before we get into it,
Mhm.
so I had never seen this movie.
Neither had
I
I.
think I only ever heard about it because of the Steven Spielberg movie, The Fablemans, which like this is like like the Sam Fableman, the main character of that movie. This is like his introduction to movies is the greatest show on earth.
It inspires
Um,
him to make movies. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay.
And I did some perusing, and I feel like the consensus in the film community, just the vibe I picked up is that this movie is like kind of forgettable and a stinker. So a little behind the scenes of how we choose these movies is we've done a few really good movies in a row. I mean, you didn't like one of them, but like really famous movies. And I was like, let's pick a stinker, Ander. Let's cover a stinker.
Oh, so you set this up from the start.
Yeah, I was like, I want to pick a stinker, and I want to just so we can get some of the stinkers out of the way. And plot twist, I really like this movie.
No, you do not. Do not tell me that right
I
now.
really like this movie.
No. There's no way.
I gave
There's
this
no
movie
way.
4 stars on
No, you
Letterboxd.
did not. I'm sorry. There's
I'm not
no
kidding.
way
I'm
you
not kidding.
liked this movie.
I wanted to hate this shit. I was expecting to rag on this movie. I really like this movie.
I'm in genuine disbelief. This is not, first of all, it's barely a movie. It's a 2.5 hour long ad for the circus, is what it is. I wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend it to any person, place, or thing.
Yeah.
I can't believe you enjoyed that. What did you like about it?
Well, okay. So The Greatest Show on Earth is the 1953 Best Picture winner. The basic plot is
Why?
the basic plot is there's the Ringling Brothers Circus is traveling around.
So stupid.
And there's a sort of basically the main tension of the movie is there's this love triangle between Holly, played by Betty Hutton. Um, she's sort of caught in the middle between two men, Brad Braden, played by Charlton Heston, a man who's never done anything wrong and is totally unproblematic, and Cornell Wilde, who plays the great Sebastian. So the whole movie, I was like, because the Fablemans, the part that Steven Spielberg uses is like this big train wreck that like
Yeah.
traumatizes young Sam Fableman, and the whole time I was like, when is this gonna happen? And it's like literally the last 20 minutes, and I was like,
Well, it's yeah. Look, so that's ironically that's the best part of this movie is a train wreck, and the
yeah,
rest of
fucking
this movie is
rules.
also a train wreck. Like that's the only exciting part. The rest is, I kid you not, it's just a 2.5 hour ad for the circus. If you like the circus, you might like this. Coupled with what I have to say is the worst love triangle I've ever seen on screen. It's the
I thought,
most
yeah,
unbelievable. Really? You thought
I
it
thought
was
I thought it was fun.
really?
Yeah,
I could not disagree. I thought that all the characters were so just unattached to they were just chaos, these characters. They didn't have any real ties to reality. Brad doesn't love Holly. Holly doesn't love Brad, yet they end up together. And Sebastian is just a predator. He's just a trapeze circus performing predator. That's all he is. He's shredded. He is shredded. I'll give him that much. I was
I
impressed with his 1950s physique. I didn't know they could do that in the 50s.
Sebastian is sort of a gym rat before that was coined.
Well, that's like earned muscle. Like he just got that from swinging on trapezes, which is pretty cool. So I respect him for that. Everything else is pretty not good. So Holly and Sebastian are circus performers. Brad is the guy who runs the circus.
Yeah.
At one point, Holly and Sebastian are doing this circus act where they're flying around on trapeze. And he's holding her. He's dangling her 50 feet above the ground. And he's like, kiss me. And she's like, what? No. And he's like, kiss me or I'll drop you. And I'm like, what is happening? And then he pulls her up, kisses her, and then drops her. I was like, what is this? This is...
Yes, Sebastian sucks. I totally agree with you. Later on, he says a girl may say no, but the woman in her means yes.
Ugh.
I also wrote in my notes. I wrote, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm rooting for Charlton Heston in life and in love.
What did Charlton... What's his deal? Charlton
He's
Heston...
he's a big, I mean, he's a famous actor. He was in Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes. He's in the Omega Man. He's Moses in the Ten Commandments, which was directed. This movie is directed by Cecil B. DeMille. Ten Commandments was also directed by Cecil B. DeMille. He's in Ben-Hur. He's like a movie star. But later in life, he became a huge Republican dude and is like, or maybe he always was, and he's like a big proponent of the NRA. Like he's a big NRA
Oh,
guy. Yeah,
well, this is humble beginnings.
yeah. Let me say what I like about this movie,
Okay.
and then you could shit on it,
Yeah, I will.
which
I
I
don't...
can't wait
First
to
of
hear.
all,
So,
I don't want to... I hate being that guy. I don't want to be on this show being that guy who just shits on every movie just cuz. but I have to because this movie was just so poor.
I think I'm the minority here. Like, I think if anybody is listening to this podcast and they're following along each episode and they're watching the movies with us, I guarantee the opinion is either going to be the majority opinion is going to be that movie was fine to bad,
Yeah,
but I gave it 4 stars because
tell me.
like I said,
I wanna
I'm a cock. Um,
for
so
cinema.
I love so Brad, he runs the circus. Charlton Heston runs the circus. And I love throughout like kind of the politics and the economics of running the circus and like the tension of that. I think it's fun. I see your face. You are skeptical. You are
Well, they're just
angry.
by politics. They're just deciding which monkeys to assassinate and which elephants to basically just torture. So they decide. Well, I guess in the beginning they're deciding whether or not they're going to do the full tour or like a half tour,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
All the big wigs.
this movie kind of sands off the hard edges that I imagine exist in the circus. Like
Hmm.
I imagine all of these people post performance are like mainlining like drugs and like morphine and shit because like they're probably in so much pain, a lot of them.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Like all the time. And like they're probably partying hard. Like I imagine these people don't like really have families. Like what kind of person joins the circus? You know what I mean? You imagine they have to be like somebody who's like on the like has a precarious life, a
Well, Jimmy
precarious
Stewart's
existence.
character.
Yeah, exactly. He like I think euthanasia's his wife. Is that the idea? It seems like he like
He.
mercy killed her.
So
It's never really said.
first of all, he plays the character Buttons the Clown, who is a on the lam killer, which is
A good
nightmare fuel, if
performance.
anything. Um,
This
but
is a really
yes,
good performance.
you know what? He was believe it or not, Buttons the Clown was the only character that I enjoyed on screen because he had
Yeah.
some depth to him, a little bit of mystery. Um, he essentially operated on his wife to try and perform like a last ditch life saving procedure, and then he inadvertently killed her, and then he's basically on the run for that.
Yeah. And he never takes off his makeup because he's in hiding,
Right. So he's always Buttons the Clown.
which is so unnerving. Like when everyone's just like not like that and he has his makeup on, you're like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like my whole take is this movie, like this isn't a gritty portrayal of what the circus is probably actually like. The movie is portraying what we as audience members think the circus is and must be like. Because like there's also so many shots throughout the movie of like it cuts to the audience and they're just like chomping cotton candy and laughing and like just like, oh son, look at that. And the son doesn't care and he hates his father and he like can't wait till he's like 18 and can leave home.
There are so many ridiculous crowd shots in this movie of kids just with ice cream, like covered in ice cream,
Yeah.
and they're just all sticky all the time. Not all kids are sticky, you know?
Yeah, let's get that on the record.
Yeah, we just want that on the record. Not all. Some kids.
The
are gonna
Oscar
be
Wieners
sticky.
podcast
Yeah.
doesn't endorse the idea that kids are always sticky.
No. Um. By the way, I mean, I think we should get like a. Don't you think it'd be fun to get like a baby on this show, like a kid?
You texted me this and I think that probably breaks some kind of law. Unless it's like your cousin or something.
We'll pay them.
That's
They'll be
not
compensated.
that's not the issue.
There'll be compensation.
Of course that's not the issue.
I just want to know like what a 3-year-old thinks of this, or I don't know, Godfather Part 2. Like, what's their
Shouldn't be
take?
showing a 3-year-old Godfather Part 2, an R-rated movie. I mean, I do like the idea that I don't know if we should actually get a kid on the show, but I wouldn't be interested to hear what a kid thinks. Not a 3-year-old, but like a 7-year-old thinks of this movie. I wonder if it's interesting to them. Like,
There's no way.
is the circus? Have you ever been to the circus?
I have been to the circus, and I did like the circus. There are pretty amazing feats. Like there's that one part in this movie where that dog rode the dog and that dog rode a horse. That was pretty cool. That was maybe the best part of this movie.
Yeah, there was so much shit in this movie where I said out loud, like I said holy shit out loud, because like even there at one point there's the elephant, there's like a circle of elephants and they stand like on each other's backs and are walking on their hind legs. I was like, that's like should be illegal, but it's also insane that I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I think that was more unsettling than
Yeah,
amazing. I was
yeah,
like, "Oh, why are they
yeah.
why are they doing this?"
I've also been to the circus.
Did you get a snow cone?
I don't think so. I don't totally remember. I might have been to the circus twice. I think I went once like with my parents, and then I think I went for like a school field trip.
You went for a school field trip to the circus?
I think so, and I vaguely remember because we had like parent chaperones, and I think I remember one of the dads buying like a huge bucket of popcorn, and like 20 kids were sharing it, and that I think is where COVID started.
I would believe that.
Yeah, I think
I
we
feel
were
like all
patients
diseases
zero.
come, yeah, all diseases have come from a giant shared bucket of popcorn. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. I haven't seen one of those big tubs of popcorn since like Hollywood Video blockbuster era.
You gotta go to the movie theater more, man. They
No,
got
but
them.
they don't have the one really like the big buckets where the kernels are lined on the bottom and then you put it in the microwave and then they pop up. You know what I mean?
Oh,
What I'm talking about?
no. Oh, like you're saying,
You
like
know
at
what
the
I mean?
bottom of it, they have like a bag of like popcorn.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Like those like movie packs that they have.
Yeah. Well, it's like built
Sometimes they'll
into the
come with
bucket.
like
Like you basically buy an empty bucket, you put it in the microwave, and then popcorn fills the bucket. It's magic. And I haven't seen it in years.
right. Interesting. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. That sounds familiar.
My go-to was popcorn, and I would get an It's-a-Kadoozy. It was an ice pop. It's just like a long
Huh?
rainbow ice pop.
I think I know what you're talking about.
You know what
I
I
didn't know
mean?
it was called an It's a Kadoozy.
Yeah, it's a Kadoozy. You go to Blockbuster, you open up the freezer door, and you gotta stick your whole head in and just smell it. That's what I used to do as a kid. I would do that today if it was still open.
Moving on. Uh, but like watch this movie, I'm like, there's like probably like what 2,000 people under this 10, 1,000, something like that. I'm like, all of them might watch somebody die.
Well, that's the appeal, which
That's
is wild.
insane. That's
Yeah,
insane that like there's an entertainment like subculture where it's like, oh yeah,
yeah.
you go because like part of the allure is like we might watch somebody die trying to do something
I mean,
incredible.
right. I mean, we can't pretend that's probably the most alluring sell to any show. Like think about even just shows on TV where they do death-defying stuff. It's
Yeah,
like this guy might die. Like
right.
I gotta say this, you know what I mean? Like America's Got Talent, they always have one person where it's like they're balancing on like four swords or something and juggling flaming whatever, and then they cut to commercial and you're like, oh, I gotta see if this guy dies. You know? That's the whole sell. It's messed up. It's
Yeah.
twisted, but like that, like I can't discount myself. Like I'm in that audience of people who are just like, is this guy gonna die? You know?
Yeah.
Any of that David Blaine tricks that he puts on TV, you're like, oh, this guy might die. I gotta see this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy. He should have been in this. Where was he?
Oh, he was. You didn't see him?
No, was he in the director's cut?
Yeah, the big top cut.
Is in the Big Top Blaine cut?
I some other things I love about this movie is I love the assembling the big top sequence where like the narrator's like they put together the big top for the entertainment of America.
Yeah, okay. So they show this whole sequence
the
where
one
they
thing.
basically show them
Yeah,
building the Big Top Circus,
yeah.
which is cool. I do feel a little bit like I'm like, all right, who are all these? Basically, who are all these workers who are definitely not working under adequate conditions? They travel on a train together,
No, yeah, like the only people of color you see in the movie are those like probably day laborers that are like
right?
assembling the big top.
Right, and you're like, this is definitely
Not on the
not
level.
great. Yeah, this is not on the level right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That just fed into the feeling of this is just an ad for the circus. The circus, which by the way, did you know that that tent, like a couple years prior to this movie coming out, it collapsed and caught on fire and killed 167 people?
Are you being serious?
Dead serious.
Holy
And like
shit.
2/3 of them were kids.
Oh my god.
And then and then they released this movie like 5 years later.
Well, I mean, now that you say that, it's probably like a PR thing. It's like
Right.
we have to get back in the good graces of the American people. Let's get into the people. So you thought the love triangle was ridiculous and stupid.
Ridiculous. And ultimately I think that's the core problem with this movie. Actually, the core problem with this movie is that it's boring. Unfortunately, like it could be, dated, borderline offensive, blatantly offensive, but I think the ultimate problem was that it wasn't interesting. Like you can make up for so many flaws in anything, any type of storytelling. You can make up for so many flaws if it's just compelling, interesting, make the characters believable. And I think it failed on those two fronts, like completely and utterly failed, like exploding collapse failure. Obviously, it's going to be dated. It's from the 50s. And most of the movies that we're going to watch are going to be dated. So it's like it's a little bit tough to hold them to modern standards, but it's just bad. Like
you hate Holly, you think she's scum.
I didn't say that. I just said she was I just think she's kind of lame. Is that fair? Is that fine to say? I just didn't.
She's really into being a circus performer, which is like the way she does it is a little lame.
You know what? Like that's fine. Like I'm fine if you're diehard into something. Like I've never seen Black Swan, but I think that's probably a good movie, and that person's really into ballet. What's that movie about?
Person? Talking about Natalie Portman.
Well, she's not Natalie. She doesn't play Natalie Portman. She just is Natalie Portman in real life. How would you know?
You haven't seen it. She absolutely plays that. She actually plays Padme Amidala
in Black Swan.
Yeah.
No shot. I like a character who has an obsession. I think that's inherently interesting, but I feel like that character should ultimately have a downfall. I feel like that behavior is not really apt to be rewarded. It's almost like it's like Icarus flying too close to the sun,
Holly is like basically becoming Brad. She's like, get that over there, get that over. That's like her whole arc is like, she's like, Brad is too circus and he'll never love me. And then by the end, she's actually just as circus as he is.
Yeah,
which I guess is why their connection works.
She basically just she's tired of all this running around, so she just comes down to his level, basically.
Yeah, he wears her down until she's just like him, which is how any relationship.
It's so grim.
Be.
She just, she goes full circus. She takes command of the whole thing.
It goes full circus.
She did.
She went full circus on that one.
She went full circus.
Yeah.
Spoilers for The Greatest Show on Earth, although I can't recommend watching this movie personally.
I recommend it. I think it's good.
If you want to watch a movie about bros being bros,
look at these men being boys.
The boys being men. That's what the 1950s was about.
Boys to boys, men to boys, boys to guys, dudes to
bros. Kick back with a couple of your buds, crack open a couple buds, watch some watch a little person do backflips and get thrown off a horse.
That was insane. They tie that person to a fucking rope and somebody is just swinging them around.
Yeah, that was.
Remember that? I was like,
yeah,
this is
I can't forget. I've been having dreams about it for the past 4 days. Can't forget that. And then so basically, the circus just attracts all these people of unusual body types and backgrounds, but yet they're not accepting of those people. Like, there's no like circus performer code of acceptance. They're just like, there's one part where they're doing like a quick tour through the circus, and someone's like, "Who's that?" And then I think Brad goes, "Oh, that's the giant and the fat boy." And I'm like, "Why are we not?" We're
They have
all.
names, probably, right?
Why
Surely.
is this environment not accepting of circus performers? Like, why is there not like a code of honor among them? That bugged me a lot.
That's a good point.
There's no real camaraderie. They all kind of
Yeah.
hate each other, actually.
Do they?
I don't think anyone really likes each other in this. Name one character who likes another character.
Everyone likes Buttons.
Buttons goes to jail. How is that fair? He's the only likable guy in the whole circus, and then he's just jailed at the end.
But and Buttons likes everybody.
Then yeah, that's true. Yes.
He I feel like he's kind of 50-50 on Sebastian,
Yeah.
but he's cordial with Sebastian.
Yes. Because Sebastian's a
Um,
wild card. He's a loose
he
cannon.
is. He literally falls and somehow doesn't die. He falls from like 2 stories and is fine. He just like he has an arm that doesn't work.
Yeah, well, yeah, his hand doesn't work. His hand is crippled.
The fact that that fall didn't kill him a little bit was unbelievable to me.
This
Yeah,
is,
that's
this is
that's
a
the one
perfect
flaw
movie in
this
your
movie.
eyes. This is the one flaw is that he didn't get more seriously hurt.
This is the best movie ever made except for that.
This is the greatest show on earth.
So the movie ends. Brad and Holly get together. I'm going to say something crazy.
I don't believe you, but
The
okay.
ending of this movie reminds me of like a Shakespeare comedy. I'm comparing this movie to maybe the best writer to ever do it. And that's an
Okay.
Oscar for that. That's an Oscar for
No,
that.
you don't get the Oscar for that. Well, actually,
So let me
you're
explain.
not
let me explain.
wrong. I will say actually I don't disagree with you because miraculous things tend to end up happening in Shakespeare. It's just like I'm with this person now because we spoke once. And
Yeah,
that's exactly
it's
what
like
happens.
things wrap up very quickly, and like Sebastian basically proposes to Angel. Angel's like, I'm a one-man woman, and the only thing that could like make me and you work is if we got married. Sebastian's like, I've never tried that. Let's give it a shot. And you're like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I guess that just it's just a product of the sensibilities of people during this era. Or it's just
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
yeah,
also,
whatever.
yeah. Also, like the circus, I imagine people like make impulsive decisions like that because, like, why not?
Yeah, I suppose so. But that was crazy. I was just like, okay, they've literally said 2 lines to each other throughout this movie, and then they're gonna end up together forever.
Yeah. But that reminded me of like the end of a Shakespeare play where it's just like all of a
Yes.
sudden it's like, oh, big, let's have a wedding or like
Yeah.
a marriage proposal just because like it's fun and like why not?
Right, and now like Juliet's friend is now married to Tybalt or whatever. You know,
Right.
I don't like Shakespeare either. I think Shakespeare kind of sucks.
Damn. That's such a hot take. I really like Shakespeare.
I,
Hot take. Shakespeare is good.
you know what? Maybe that's why I didn't like The Greatest Show on Earth. Maybe it was too much like Shakespeare.
It is kind of, it feels like almost like a 5-act movie somehow.
It's a 5-act movie. It drags on and it has way too many unnecessary scenes and padding. It's exactly like a Shakespeare play.
God,
The
you're so canceled for that.
The characters are unrelatable. And ultimately it's kind of boring. So it's a pretty apt comparison. Good job. Nice.
This is not how I wanted this to go.
No, good. No, it was a good observation. And I agree with you.
Do you have anything else to say about this goddamn movie?
No, it's just kind of whack, that's all.
It sucks.
If you want to watch a movie that's it's pretty much just the circus and it's whack, you could watch it. Be my guest.
Whack Circus would have been a better title.
Nitro Circus would have been a better title.
Oh hell yeah!
I would watch
I think
Nitro Circus.
Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory would have been a better title.
Yeah, they should have just called it Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory and called it a day. They should have just called it a day. It's what they really should have called it.
Um, do you want to hear what won Best Picture
Yes.
or the Best Picture nominees?
Yeah. Tell me.
Um, what's kind of okay? So what's kind of crazy about Greatest Show on Earth winning Best Picture, it was like nominated for like it had like three nominations, which is such a low amount of nominations for the movie that was deemed the best of the year.
Yeah. So what else did it get nominated for?
It was nominated for directing. It didn't win though.
Okay.
What was the other one that I saw? Obviously nominated for Best Picture. I think costume, right? Where's costuming? Which makes
Costuming.
sense,
I guess.
I
Yeah.
guess.
But it's the
Yeah,
like
costuming.
how much of this is the director responsible for? Like
That's
they
a good
just
point,
filmed
'cause,
the
like,
circus, right? Like this was just the circus.
Yeah, it was also nominated for editing. Yeah, it feels like a lot of the circus performances in the movie feel like they're just like captured at an actual circus.
Yes. I think
Like,
they
'cause there's
were.
yeah, like it was just like basically like this is like Woodstock, the documentary of the live performances,
But
but
it's
for
not.
the Ringling Brothers Circus. No, it's as good as that, I think, and as monumental, historically important, I think.
Right. Of course.
Um, yeah, so it had four noms: editing, costumes.
Most
Uh,
children murdered. Kind of has the
Jesus
record
Christ,
for that.
Jesus Christ,
Um,
you need to fucking chill out, man.
keep it real. Most animal torture.
God damn it. See, you know what sucks is like the fact that I like this movie so much. It seems like I'm endorsing all of the things in this movie.
No, you're
That
not.
sucks.
You can
That sucks.
you can like this movie and not endorse what it's about.
Yeah.
You can like Wolf of Wall Street and not endorse cocaine and screwing people out of their money.
Well, I do. Well,
Oh.
that's a weird one where I actually do
Oh,
endorse
okay.
that.
Right.
You can watch Babe Pig in the City and not endorse babes being pigs in the city.
Right. Of course.
Um,
So
all right,
who else was nominated?
so there was only five nominees this year. Greatest Show on Earth obviously won. The other nominees were High Noon, which is a really good Western,
Pretty good seltzer.
pretty good seltzer, really good Western.
Yeah.
Something called Ivanhoe.
Ivan, no.
Hell yeah. Moulin Rouge, which I guess the
Prequel to Mulan?
no, Moulin Rouge I think was remade. I guess it's a remake of with Ewan McGregor. I forget who else is in that movie, but
Ewan McGregor. Oh, the remake is with Ewan McGregor.
yeah, in like
Okay.
I think 2001,
I was like,
something
he
like
was in
that.
those?
And then The Quiet Man.
Silent movie?
About a man.
Have you seen any of these?
No. Well, no, I've seen High Noon.
Really? Was it good? Was it better than this?
Yeah.
It
It's
was
like
better than this.
yeah. I mean, it's first of all, it's like an hour shorter than this goddamn movie. Like High Noon is like a tight like 90 minutes.
I do like
Um,
that. You can be a long movie. It's just you have to be good throughout most of the time, and this was not.
yeah. So you don't think, obviously not having seen any of the other Best Pictures, you don't think this probably deserved it?
You know what? I think maybe its allure was that maybe for the first time it wasn't this insular story. It was just a lot of the reviews that I saw were like, "Oh, it's such a spectacle," and that was basically the big selling point. And I guess if you grew up in the 50s and you saw this, you think, "Wow, this is a spectacle." More so than maybe Casablanca was or some other, award-winning iconic films of before this time.
Yeah. So do you have other reviews that people
Either, you know what? I tried to find some 5-star reviews because most people were like, not about this film. One man said this movie is trash. Do not watch unless you're on a quest to watch every Best Picture winner, which is us, or
Holy
you,
shit.
or you really, and I mean really, love the circus. What's funny is I feel like 90% of the reviews of The Greatest Show on Earth are people who are just watching every Oscar Best Picture,
That's crazy. I mean,
which is
yeah.
us.
Like I probably wouldn't have watched this movie ever if we weren't doing this podcast.
Absolutely not. I
Even though
wouldn't
I
watch
really like
any. I
this
wouldn't have
movie.
watched any of these movies, if not for this. But it's fun because some of them are good. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully they get
Most
better.
of I think all of them are probably good, right?
Oh,
Because of
hopefully.
the best picture.
I hope so. I hope some of them get better than this. So far, it's kind of a slog.
Would you, oh, is this do you like this less than the French Connection?
Yes, this is slower. The bar has somehow gotten lower
Yes.
because French Connection was also not good, but this is a notch
Yes.
worse.
Yes.
The French Connection had some redeeming qualities. This I feel like didn't have enough. It
Yeah.
had a train wreck scene, and that's it. You know what? If you've listened to this and you said I'm actually interested in seeing this, just go on YouTube and watch the train crash sequence, and you'll basically have seen the movie.
I mean, or just watch The Fablemans, because the way Steven Spielberg
Eh,
dramatizes it through the eyes of like a child is like incredible.
yes.
And
Yeah, and you'll
I feel like it
actually
like
don't watch
doubles
that
in
because
intensity.
you'll think that you'll mistake this for a good movie. You'll think, oh, Spielberg watched this and got inspired. If Spielberg watched the rest of this movie, he probably would be a carpenter today or something. He would not have gone on to be a director. No shot. He would have said, I'm repelled by this garbage. And the ones
That's I hate being a champion for this movie. I hate it. I don't want it.
why? I'm not listen, I'm not you're welcome to your this is all opinion. You can think this movie is 10 stars out of 5 if you want. I just don't agree.
Thank you for saying
I just
thank you
don't
for
agree at
saying
all.
that because I actually gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd.
Did you really?
No, I'm kidding. I gave it 4. I might bump it
Still.
down to 3.5 after our conversation, but I feel like it'll stay at 4.
I've swayed you? What's half a
Uh,
star to you? Like what's half a star? What's the value of like what does half a star represent?
well, the reason I gave it 4 stars is because I think all the spectacle, like some of those reviews are saying, like I think it's like insane and incredible, and I kind of love watching it. So most of it, not, I mean, some of it, like there's like all the parades at the circus, I think were kind of boring. I was like, I don't really care. And they went on for a long time. I was like, you can
Yeah.
cut this. I don't care about the parades. Um, but I also like found the human drama, if you can call it that,
I won't.
even as boilerplate and like surface level as a lot of it was, like I just find performances during this period and like the way people talk and interact with each other, like kind of engaging and like magnetic, even if it doesn't totally hold up today.
But is it just because you're being transported through time? It's like, okay, now I'm in this era. Is that the appeal?
I don't know.
Is that it's just different
Maybe.
from our time? Or you're like maybe that like because there is something innately magic about this is what people were thinking about and enjoying in the 50s.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure this was maybe well received in the 50s. I'm not sure. Honestly think I legitimately think that they bought this Oscar. But people probably did like this movie when it came out. I
Yeah.
have to imagine.
Yeah.
So I guess that's interesting. Yeah, sensibilities change over time.
Yeah.
I guess that's interesting. But I thought the movie was poor and bad and not worth it.
Yeah.
Also, probably a huge budget, right?
Yeah.
Probably
Most
super
likely.
expensive. They could have made like 10 Casablancas.
Casablancas.
Yeah. Which is maybe they just should have. Just make a
Yeah.
bunch of sequels. I don't know. Um, I tried to find some like positive reviews that like maybe would shift my perspective a little bit, but I thought they were kind of I don't know. Everyone was just like 5 stars. This is a circus epic. Okay. Great. I didn't
What's
like
your point?
that's really all I got to say about it.
Um, Maybe next week we'll cover a shitty movie, actually. A movie that I hate. Okay, this podcast is actually going to be about me trying to find a movie I don't appreciate in some way.
If it's not this, then what?
I have I'm not going to say it on mic just because I want that to be fresh for the episode, but
Sure.
I haven't seen this movie, but I have a feeling I know what it's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, look, these should be 4 or 5 star films if you're an Oscar Best Picture.
How many stars would you give it?
Probably 1.
And I gave it 4. What am I doing? I need to
Listen,
reevaluate.
don't let me. I'm set in my opinion, but I don't like. If you genuinely watched it and said 4 stars, I support you in that. Like,
Thanks,
I don't
Brud.
just. I'm not just.
Brud.
I'm not just condoning it. I'm not just living with it. I support you.
I really love that. That's I love that about you, man. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Smash that like button.
Follow us on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Sure.
guess.
Why not? Why not?
I want to let me read my review
You wrote a
of
review
the
for
greatest
it.
show on earth.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I feel like you wait till the podcast till the episode like is finished till we've talked about it to put up your review, which is smart. I don't though. Wait.
Well, because I think maybe Mike will have something to say that might change my opinion a little bit. Like, how can you really set a concrete opinion on something after watching it once? It's like that with anything. Like
It's
none,
true.
like none of those are going to be like opinions will change over time. This is just basically my first reaction is 1 star. I might watch it 10 years later
Right.
and think that O'Brien son of a gun was right the whole time.
Yeah, so my review is I like this movie way more than I wanted to, and
Mhm.
ultimately that actually really sucks. Sam Fableman has
Why?
good taste.
But why is that bad? You're so allowed to like it.
But it's because I chose this thing to watch and rag on. I
But
wanted
why?
a
But
shitty
why
movie.
were you going in wanting to rag on it? Just because you think it'd be funny?
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Fun
fun. It is fun. You know what? It is kind of liberating to in a world where you have so little control over life and your surroundings. It's fun to just rag on something that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So it is
Amen.
kind of cathartic in that sense. I will admit that.
Yeah.
And this was a good target because I think it deserved every criticism that I've administered here. But you're allowed to
See you
like
next week, folks.
it. See you next week.
These are the wieners signing off.
Give him the old wiener salute.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar wieners. Oscar wieners. Oscar wieners. These boys are the Oscar wieners. Oscar wieners.
Beautiful. Look at that.
Look at that.
So I actually hated the movie. I gave it 1 star.
He knew it.